right now.
Sweet. So, okay,
hey everybody,
legit question. Are we live now?
We are live. Are we live
so
now?
Do we want to put up our little countdown timer to show that this is our pre-show?
Oh yeah, we should do that. Oh, there's so many things
to do when you're running a show.
Where's my little count? Hey everybody, how does your live streams go? Because ours go flawlessly.
All right. Okay, we've got countdown. Sammy here. Paul, did you go silent on me?
No, I'm still here. Sorry. This is me focused, laser focused, trying to find a timer. Listen, everybody, it's 5 minutes until our real show. So I'm just going to shout out occasionally how much time is left. 4 minutes, 52 seconds.
So wait, what happened to the timer? Tell me about the timer.
I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Look at that.
This is all, this is not planned, but this really is all part of the live streaming experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not planned, but perfect and on brand, because everything we're here to talk about is what goes well and what goes badly.
Yeah.
So far, we have given you 0 examples of badly.
This is some A+ content right now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Also, how obnoxious is the sound of my mouse? I think I would like a quieter mouse.
I already posted on Upwork looking for a new co-host. So, yeah, pretty annoying.
Sounds about right. I knew this mouse was going to get me.
I can't notice.
Okay.
Oh, if you're watching. So, Sammy, Mario, thanks for hanging out and watching. I will say, during the pre-show, one thing I have learned is that Kat is very audio sensitive. If there's something happening, you're very sensitive to the audio.
Yes. Although it's mostly me being incredibly self-conscious about my own audio. It's not, so I'm not picking up on anything going, well, or you're not putting anything down. So I'm not picking anything up for you, except for you speaking. I can hear you speaking. There's no other complaints coming from your end.
Oh, you know what? Boy, you're not going to want to hear this, but our little audio timer went away. There it is again. 3 minutes, 20 seconds, everybody.
So, okay. So what happened to the little countdown timer?
Well, it disappears after an X number of seconds. Don't know why. I have no idea.
For those of you who are with us right now, I created a little countdown timer that would just kind of be able to sit somewhere in the screen and do a little graphic. And then we have the countdown so you can see that we haven't quite started yet. This is not the official start of the show yet. We can just hang out and chat with anyone who joins us for this pre-show period before we kickstart this actual show. The little thing is missing.
If you're thinking, this seems so polished, this must be the actual show, it's not. This is all pregame.
Yeah. You just wait.
you just wait. Like that
also,
song from Hamilton.
Just you wait. I just noticed that I am wearing black and you are wearing red.
Oh, look at that.
We didn't plan that, folks.
I was going to lie and say we did.
Oh, I just spoiled it.
That's okay.
All right. This is exciting. This is a thrilling pre-show.
My goal is to bring up comments. However, not a lot of comments right now to bring up. Oh, Sammy says he likes the new layout in the shot. That's very cool. Thank you, Sammy.
Oh, okay. You know what? I think I count as a person watching. In case you're wondering, it says there are 4 watching right now.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, who else is here? And then I realized, oh, one of them is me because I opened YouTube so I could see the comments.
You broke
But
your own heart.
I look, yeah, I'm disappointing myself. It's sad. But that might mean someone else is watching but just hasn't commented yet. Who knows? All right, looks like, do we have 1 minute left? Am I correct? Is that what the timer says?
57 seconds.
Bringing the goods since 2020. Now I feel like I'm just filling empty space.
Oh, well, welcome to any of my live shows. Oh, here's a comment from Sammy. What is this show about? LOL. Sammy, what an ideally perfect time to ask when there is 17 seconds. I don't want to tell you yet. Sammy, stick around for 15 seconds and you'll find out.
This is good. We're building a little bit of anticipation. Or we could just say it's like Seinfeld.
Oh, it is. This is exactly like Seinfeld.
It's a show about nothing.
We're out of time. We're supposed to start. So, everybody, get ready for this really cool graphic and this really cool intro song. Smooth. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Are We Live Now? It is a new live streamer experience. But what does that mean?
Well, we are going to be honest and open and transparent and tell you what it's really like to be new at this whole live streaming thing. And it seems like you're going to just watch it happen live and in person because, well, we're pretty new at this thing.
Also, because we're saying we're going to be very candid, I wrecked the intro. I was supposed to say, my name is Paul. Did not do that. So we'll take it from the top. Hey, everybody. My name's Paul.
And I am Kat.
Boom. We're killing us. And this is Are We Live Now, a new live streamers experience. Don't worry, Kat. We'll edit this in post.
Will we, though?
No,
will we?
We won't. We will not.
Because this is part of it. We're doing a collaboration, and we talk about what's going to happen. But then when it's actually rolling and we're live, it's a whole different ballgame. So I do want to tell you a little bit about what you can expect week to week. So it's our very first show today, and so we are going to actually just interview each other and ask a few questions about how we got into this live streaming experience, what we've learned, and what are some of the things that we would want to share with others. But every other week, once we get started and kick off, we are going to invite another new streamer to join us and tell about their experience. So we're new streamers talking to other new streamers. But at the start of every show, we're going to do a little check-in with each other and ask how things are going, how was our last show, etc. So we'll get a little bit of a, what's the good, what's the not so good. And so we'll share openly about that. And then at the end of every show, what is it that we're going to work on? So that's what you can expect from week to week if you decide to come back and join us.
Which I'm sure you probably already made the decision. I'm going to definitely come back. Ron asks a very important question. Hey, everybody. Are you live now? Yes, we are. Thanks. Thanks for coming, Ron.
Whether we like it or not, we're live.
Whether it's a smooth process or not. So here's the other thing. The first part, like Kat was saying, we're going to talk about like what happened in our personal live streams. The good, the bad, and I don't know, the meh.
So actually, it's the good, the ugly, and the meh. Do you want to explain, Paul, why we decided to switch it up a little?
Yes. So the idea was that we were thinking about going the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that's too negative. That's 2 out of 3 that are negative. Things always happen in our live streams that are good. There's also things that always disappoint us, and then there's always things that we thought were going to go great but turn out meh. And those aren't necessarily bad, they're not necessarily good, they're just things that we know that we need to keep working on and exploring. So that's why we call it the good, ugly, and meh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So with that, Paul, what went well? What was your good in the last week?
The good this past week was, so on Saturday I did a live stream where people could just kind of jump in and play Jackbox games. And the conversation in the chat was really fun. Like everybody, it's neat when everybody starts to know each other and they greeting each other and somebody has to take off. And that was very exciting. And that wasn't even something that I really did or facilitated, but just something that was great to see going well and something I'd like to figure out a way to just kind of keep that going. So that was good. So yeah.
But yeah, I like that. When I have showed up and both of us have watched the same live shows before, and it's nice when you show up and people say hi and they greet you and they're excited that you're there. And when you have to jump out early, people will say bye. It's a really nice environment. So
Yeah.
that is good.
So how about for yourself? What happened?
Yeah. So the good in the last week, I would say I have, for the last, I think 4 weeks, have had somebody show up live. And it's a little thing, but it is worth celebrating because for the first few months I was going live on Wednesdays, nobody was coming. And I kind of liked it that way. But then I realized I was selling myself short. I was not telling people that I was going live. And then I started to proactively go out there and say, hey, I'm going live. I would like you to join me. And since then, I have had at least one person comment on my stream. So I don't have a full community yet, but I have people who are actually commenting, and it really does make a difference for me knowing that there's somebody on the other side of the screen, because otherwise you just never really know what's going on. So that was good. That felt good. What's yeah.
Oh, I was just going to ask, because that's funny. I did the same thing this past weekend. I finally put myself out there to another, the improv community I'm a part of, and said, hey, there's this thing I'm doing. Come by, play, hang out. It's a good time. And just saying it's a good time and putting myself out there was very, very uncomfortable. I don't know. Was it uncomfortable for you at first as well? Because you're making a declarative statement. This is something worth your time. And that made me very uncomfortable to do.
Yeah, actually, you know what's interesting? Based on your streams versus my streams, because I think yours are a little bit more conversational. We're hanging out. Whereas with me, I usually pick a lesson and I'm trying to teach something. And so early on when I was doing that, I found that I like the idea of getting in, getting the lesson out smoothly, no distractions, nothing going wrong, and then hopping off. And that's actually not great. So, but the problem was, and maybe this is still a problem that I have to fix, is that because people who are wanting to maybe watch the live streams, they learn the same thing if they come to the replay. So I don't know what quite yet the incentive is for showing up live. Obviously, if you have a question, you could ask that question. I might be able to answer that question. Mm-hmm. But so far, that has not been my experience. I love having people join live. Right now, I'm not sure what my appeal is. So why would someone show up live if they can just watch it later, maybe speed it up, and learn that same thing later? I don't know. So I got to figure that out. That I have not quite finessed yet.
So I know we're already off the rails because we're supposed to be talking about good, ugly. Or maybe this segues into something that you think is ugly, but I actually thought it was really enjoyable watching your live today. When I watched it, you were struggling with your camera for mm-hmm. the first couple minutes. I thought it was delightful and very human. I thought it was great to watch. So maybe that's a benefit. Just kind of the things that make us human we see during a live.
It is. So yeah, that would be my ugly for the week. So since you mentioned it, I'll just address it here. So I go live on Wednesdays, which is today. So a few hours ago, I did my live on my Facebook page, and my camera was off. So I had tested everything. I ran through, made sure everything was good. And then when I actually went live, the camera had actually moved a little on me. And there's a reason, which I'll share in a moment. But it threw me. I was looking at the feed and I thought, oh no, this isn't good. So I addressed it. I fixed it and I thought it was good. And then when I went to the next scene, I realized, nope, this is still off. So yeah, it threw me and it was distracting, but I kind of just had to laugh and go with it. Now, the reason that I think that happened, so I joked subconsciously, maybe it's because I was looking for content for today's show that I needed something to go wrong. But what actually I think happened is I have actually set up a teleprompter. And right now there's nothing on it. I'm not actually reading anything. I don't have anything on the teleprompter. However, I do have it set up so I can have my notes directly in front of me in my eyeline. And if there's something I know I want to say, just so I can do that. And so today was the first day. And I think the cord to my iPad, which is how I use the teleprompter, it's an inexpensive one. I think it pulled the camera and turned it. So then I actually, you can see in my video, I'm reaching up and I'm actually like adjusting the camera. But you said it was human, and someone else actually messaged me to kind of say, hey, I feel good that I'm not the only one having tech problems. So that is an added benefit. Now, did you have an ugly moment in the last week related to your live stream?
So my goal is to always go live on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I did not go live yesterday because, and I think this kind of gets to the ugly part, which isn't exactly the live stream aspect, but the pre-game, which was ugly. Like, I overthought about going live, and I was like, I don't have anything to share. I don't have anything of value to bring to people. What am I doing? I should probably just give up. So I did yesterday. But I did go live late, kind of secretly, to test something, which was fun, which was nice. I find I have a much easier time going live when I stay out of my head, because my head, ugly place. Don't want to be there. So if I think too much about going live, then it becomes really stressful. But if I just remind myself, I'm going to go have some fun, hang out with people, make some jokes, just be there and hanging out with people, then it's much easier. But yesterday was in my brain, I was just overthinking about, I don't have anything to share. So that was kind of the ugly place, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it does make sense. And I think that's a really good point. And it's honest. It's that all the stuff leading up to it is sometimes that mindset is more important than when you're actually in it. Because once you start, you're live, you're on, you just go with it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we can really start to talk ourselves out of it or start to get in our own head, get in our own way, and kind of psych ourselves out, just like an athlete can do the exact same thing. Yes, I just compared us to athletes. I see that we have a few comments. I just want to make sure that we're not missing anything. I've been going live Monday mornings since Lita ended, the challenge that we participated in. It's been going pretty well. It's cool how to interact with people while going live. Yes. And that was something that I was so fortunate. So when we participated, because a number of us participated in Lita, the Live Every Day in August challenge run through Live Streaming Pros, and it was this really welcoming, supportive environment where people within this private group were going live and they were able to then interact with each other and practice in this safe environment. It was a really great opportunity. And the interaction is one of those great parts.
I have to share Ron's comment. Are you going to have official greeters? Hey, welcome to the stream. Ron, if you want to be an official greeter, boom, you have that title. That would be fantastic. Having official greeters. I love that idea.
Well, I think that raises a really nice idea that sometimes, like I've noticed, because I've met people through this community, if I go to a live stream where I recognize other people, I'm quick to say hi to them, or someone will say hi to me, and that feels so good. But then I recognize there are other people who are popping and I don't recognize their handles. I don't know who they are. So I'm not greeting them, but maybe I should just say hi to everyone, not just the people I know.
Ooh, let's see. Kevin says, I can relate to the lesson thing. That's what I started with, but now I'm a lot more inclusive of the live audience. Oh, that's cool. So Kevin kind of slowly has kind of adapted and changed and been more audience interactive. That's awesome, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And I'm guessing that you're still, teaching and you have that concept that you're going to talk about, but there is that back and forth. And then your audience, I guess, gets to know that a little bit better. Okay, Paul's laughing. What are you laughing
I'm
at?
sorry. So I think everybody now is official greeters. If you are in this first show, you are now an official greeter of anybody who comes in to this stream because I love it.
I think that's a great idea.
That's great. So Ron's a greeter, and then Kevin, he's he's greeting Ron. So we have greeters on greeters on greeters right now.
I love it.
Greeters get wrenches, LOL.
That sounds like a threat.
You can do a lot of damage with the wrench.
Did you notice, Paul, that Ron had a comment there around mindset?
I did. I got focused on jokey stuff, but back to serious stuff. Ron says, I'm so much like that, Paul. I feel like I don't have anything to say, but when I was in Lita, I found I could stream 15 to 30 minutes, no problem. Yeah. What is that? Just making yourself accountable. Just saying you have to go live. This is the thing you have to do. Maybe that's the secret. It just takes a lot of pressure off simply to say, this is what I do. This is when I do it. I better show up because I have to show up. It's not a better. You take the better out. You just have to show up.
Well, I think there are two pieces to that. One is there's that accountability that I committed to doing this now, in that case, every day. Whereas maybe for a live streamer, it's once a week, maybe 3 times a week. But there is a second component, which is when we were doing that challenge, every single day there was an actual mission we had to complete. And so I think as long as you have one thing that you need to share, or one thing that you're going to show up and talk about or mention or share with your community, then that's what those two things together, the accountability and then having one thing to say, if you can just get started, then you're all good.
Everybody's greeting each other. I love this. I like how you broke it into 2 parts. That makes a lot of sense.
I think with our Lita challenge, if we just had to come on and talk and we didn't have anything to prompt us, that would have been pretty hard. I think people would have struggled to do that. But because we all had something that we were directed, okay, this is the thing you want to talk about today, that did really help.
Yep. Ron agrees. He says, yes, Kat, having a daily theme or topic really helped. I love that. That did, just to kind of focus your energy. Something to focus your energy around is a great idea.
Do we want to talk about the meh?
I do. Real fast, I want to acknowledge John's comment. Greetings and salutations to the rest of AWLN audience. Hope you are having the most incredible Wednesday or whatever day you catch this premiere episode in replay. Ooh, John, nice work bringing in the replay reference.
Just there should be a warning that the pre-show is rough, or maybe we'll just clip that part.
Yeah, if you're watching this on the replay and you're like, wait a second, there was no pre-show. It's for the live audience. You got to be here. You get to see all the exciting things that happen in live, like us scrambling to prepare.
Lots of real awkward pauses and silences. This is some A stuff right there.
Well, we're saving all our good stuff. We don't want to use it all in the pre-show. Yeah. We're pacing ourselves. Should we get to the meh?
Yeah,
stuff?
let's do the meh. What was yours, Paul?
So when I went live on Saturday, I had this idea. I was like, I was facilitating some Jackbox games, so I wasn't playing, but I wanted to be a part of the show to make it entertaining, because if you ever played Jackbox, there are like 90-second blocks of time where everybody's writing down answers or crafting the response and nothing's happening. So I was like, what can I do? I know. I can shrink my head down and just start running around the screen. So what I did, like Pac-Man, was shrink my head down, turn it on its side, and start running around the perimeter of the screen while saying things. Now, in my mind, hilarious. Maybe also a little terrifying. So I think it wasn't like 100% success. And some people
Okay.
did say, oh, that was funny. But definitely something I want to work on, because as I was doing it, and this is what I've found a lot, when I have an idea and I start exploring it, all of a sudden it starts blossoming into a bigger and better idea. And I'm like, oh, if I just take this, I can add so many things to it to make it look better. So it's a meh idea for sure. I know it might sound nonsensical, but basically imagine my head is Pac-Man running around the perimeter of the screen. That's what I did. That's a meh experience. Kat?
I
Something
was
similar?
curious. I was curious if you were fully sideways, like with a flapping mouth type of deal.
No flapping mouth. No flapping mouth, but I do think making a little graphic that looks like me eating little pellets in the perimeter.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the, it could blossom into something.
I'd be lying if I said that I didn't think of Terrence and Phillip. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Terrence and Phillip. They're apparently Canadian, but they have flapping heads. So meh. Okay, I would say a meh moment is when somebody comments and I'm like, oh, they're here. And then I give a follow-up and then nothing happens because I'm like, oh, they might have jumped off, or they just didn't want to be asked a follow-up question. So I like the idea of furthering the engagement and being able to have a follow-up, but it doesn't always work. And then anyone who's looking at the comments maybe would see that that person did not respond to my prompt. And so that was a bit of a meh. I wouldn't call it bad. It's a learning thing, but that happened, I think, more than once.
Do you catch yourself looking at the amount of people watching while you're streaming?
I have, but so I use Ecamm for my software to go live, and it only shows the number of people watching if I've kind of hovered or my cursor is over my display screen. So if it's not, I don't actually see the number. I think that's helpful. Under the comments area, if somebody does have a reaction or puts a comment, I can see that. And so sometimes it just helps to see that a couple of people have had a reaction, and that's kind of enough to keep me going. But the challenge would be if you do see how many people are watching and maybe you ask for some engagement, I don't know if they're actually watching or if they've stepped away or whatnot. So maybe it's better. But I would love to hear from anyone else who does live streaming. Do you like to know the watch count or not? Is it helpful or not? I'm
Also,
curious.
In the comments, I would love to know as well, do you get self-conscious when people don't comment? Like if you're speaking and you're like, oh no, nobody's commented for 5 minutes, they must hate this. Does that get inside your head? Or do you avoid reading comments? I'm kind of curious how many people pay attention to those little things, or if it gets in your head or you let it go. I don't know.
Yeah, I see Sammy says yes sometimes. And Kevin says, I watch the number of watching. If it's 0, I know I'm presenting people on a replay. So I just ask questions in a different way. That's smart.
Oh, that is really smart.
Good tip.
It's 0. Wow, what a great way to approach it.
And also, I guess Kevin says, yes, I get self-conscious if people don't comment or respond. So I tend to ask things they can't ignore. Oh, smart. And Ron, it looks like I ignored the watch count, or I might not even know how to see how many are watching.
Ron,
so it might be a technical thing.
Ron, you are better off not paying attention to that watch count. I have watched that and I've stopped watching it now. I'll just kind of like at the end see, oh, cool, that great. Glad people were watching. I'll pay attention to comments, but the watch count is it jumps around so much. And then it pulls me out of the moment because I'm thinking about what I just did and why I lost 3 viewers on what I just did, which is a terrible way to stream. Well, we did it. We got through. I worked a lot on this last night, so I'm going to play it a couple times.
I like it.
Thanks.
I also
Very funny.
see there's a comment here from Kevin. Had my first thumbs down during a stream, so I know people were listening, and that's fine too. We don't have to agree on everything. But yeah,
Ooh,
that would be that'd be tough. Not gonna lie.
that would be tough. But also, Kevin, you teach people how to do robotics, which seems like a very smart thing. You're not saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm teaching flat Earth." Like you're teaching something smart. So I feel like somebody who's thumbed down is just a dum dum. That's how I look at it.
This is too smart for me. I don't like it.
Oh no, robot Skynet! I don't want Terminator situations. Fools. It's not gonna
That's
happen.
funny.
Um. Oh, Mario says he pays attention to the watch count all the time. If it makes you happy, it makes me crazy.
Well, no, that message doesn't necessarily say whether it's good or not.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think this is like confession for Mario?
Oh, I don't
Like
know.
he's
I just can't read into it.
like purging his sins? He's like, hey, this week I paid attention to the watch count all the time. Mario, go do 3 Hail Marys and you'll be fine. I'm sorry.
That seems like a really good note to switch into our next segment, which is the
I love
interview.
it. Let's do it.
Also, I think we have to get faster at our little check-in for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Otherwise, our guest is going to sit here for 25 minutes wondering when they get to talk.
Boy, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Well, this is our first time. We're learning how to talk for the first time together. So
I got words.
we got words and we're trying to figure out how to, blend them.
All right.
So Sammy says he falls asleep during my stream. Well, Sammy, thanks for fooling YouTube. They think you're watching. All right, so sorry, Kat. You have a great interview lined up. I have a great interview lined up. Super excited. Would you like to interview first, or would I like to interview first?
Okay, I'm gonna say you interview me because here, everyone. Paul is playing the producer. He's the master of the vMix. We are using his tech. So we're gonna watch his tech over and over and over.
Nope,
By
that's
tech,
less
I
what
mean
I promise.
his graphics. So I think because we have lined up some actual questions and he knows which ones are gonna show. So I think it would make sense if you kick us off by starting to ask some questions.
Great. So hey everybody, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. Today I'm interviewing Kat, and she's telling us about a live stream experience. It's very exciting. Let's get to our first question. Our first question comes from my brain. How did you get into live streaming?
So my foray into live streaming was inspired by Amy Porterfield. So Amy teaches content creators how to make courses so that they can teach them online. And one of the things that she is a big advocate for is to try and show up regularly to your audience in the live format. Now, there are a number of reasons that she recommends this, but I was watching her do it and I thought she has a really good way of delivering value to the people in her audience. And a lot of the stuff that I have followed of hers has worked, so she hasn't really failed me. So I decided if she says it's good for your audience, then I'm going to try it. But it took me a while to actually do it. But that is how I was inspired to get into live streaming.
And when was the first time you did live stream?
So I did. So there was one time where I went onto Instagram Live, but I don't really count that because this wasn't really with that right mindset. So it was in January. I went live on my page And then I kind of just went quiet again for a very long time until I resurfaced in May and made a commitment, that accountability. I said, I am going to start going live weekly to my page. And then that's when I started regularly going live. But that first sort of Facebook live where I had something planned and I got all prepared, that was in January.
Nice. That's great. Second question. Was there anything holding you back from live streaming?
Yes. The fact that I
follow-up question.
I put it off for a while. and then I did that one and then kind of just went back underground for a while. I think part of it was it really wasn't, I didn't have a strategy. I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about. I hadn't planned it out. I had ideas in my head, but I just didn't put them down and give them a try. But the other thing is the holding me back was just sheer nerves. The idea of, is anyone going to watch this? Does anyone care? And just like you said, you can get in your head, and I absolutely got in my head. But I would say having the strategy is helpful. So that was a lesson that I learned.
Did you, if you don't mind me asking, but it's all about being candid, so I'm curious, because that's a big thing for you to suddenly go live after never doing it before. What pushed you into it? Did you think it was going to like increase sales, or what was the kind of the thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I had a little bit of a realization when it came to my business, which is that for a while, when it came to regular content creation, I was writing. And I do enjoy writing, and I would get compliments from people who might read blog posts and say, oh, thanks. Like, I enjoy reading your blogs and whatnot. But my actual business, so for those who are not familiar, I help people figure out how they're unstuck. And I do that with individuals and with teams. So I run workshops and courses, and I use my voice. I train people. I talk to them. And it dawned on me that I was not actually showing my service or showing a sneak peek of what I'm capable of doing. I was writing about being stuck. I was writing about challenging beliefs. I was writing about personality, but I was never actually talking about it. And so it made more sense as I thought about it that I probably should show up and actually give examples of what is it like to hear me teach? What is it like to potentially be in one of my workshops, so that people have evidence that, oh, okay, maybe I would want to work with her. Maybe I want to bring her in. So doing teams, I know that I was able to get hired by a local company that wanted me to come and do some training with their team. And that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't actually using my voice and demonstrating this. So, yeah.
Oh, also, we should mention that we can't dive in today quite as much as we might want to, because there's two of us who are going to be interviewing each other. So while some of these things might be like, oh, really would like to explore that, can't really explore too much because we want to respect everybody's time and keep this to under an hour. That is our goal. Kat, the biggest biggest mindset adjustment you had to make?
I think the biggest one for me was realizing if you can help one person, that's enough. And that I think for a long time, I would see these stories of people running online businesses and growing their communities and like building out these big followings, and they would have hundreds of people show up when they go live. And I would get so frustrated trying to like build an online community and whatnot, and realizing that a lot of those stories are not realistic for most business owners. So when I started just saying, it doesn't matter if you have a small community, serve them as if they're the biggest community. What matters is that if you can make an impact on someone, that's what matters. So get over that. And then I think the other mindset shift that I had to make was just really around just get over yourself. It's not about you. Mm-hmm. And I remember somebody in one of the groups I was in said, if you talk yourself out of going live, it's selfish. You're doing it because of you. If you actually flip it and say, I'm doing this so I can teach or I can share a message or I can entertain, whatever that is, there's a value you're providing. And so if you talk yourself out of it, then it is kind of selfish because potentially there are people out there who want to hear from you. And by just saying, no, I'm not going to do this, you're sort of taking that away from them. So it's not about you, it's actually about them.
I love that. That is such a good way to approach it. That really seems to free your that I don't know, just hearing that for me frees my mind because I'm like, oh, that's a great way to reframe it.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your very first live stream. So back in, you said January, correct? Or was it February?
Yes.
January.
January.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So how
funny.
did it
I
go?
think I kind of blocked it from my head.
Oh, you
I know that
repressed
I
it.
went live on Facebook. I know that I was super nervous. I cannot remember what I talked about. I think I was just trying to get out there and send a message about the type of work I do with helping people get unstuck. But yeah, I should go back and watch it. I probably should have done that in preparation for this show, but I think I remember just being very glad it was over, and I'm pretty sure it was very short.
Oh, if maybe for a future. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there. Maybe
Oh,
for a future show, we can show clips of our first time.
hmm,
That'd be fun. I think I have mine
yeah,
too.
first stream.
Yeah. Yeah. Live streamers' first steps. Just
I also
a little fun.
enjoyed that JV wrote hashtag.
Oh, yeah.
My,
Do you want to go to
how did
there?
you say it? What did you combine? Mindset and
I was trying to say set, but I said mine shet. And shet sounds a lot like that. So,
yeah, hashtag mindset.
which, if not already a YouTube channel, would be pretty ridiculous. Lots of good things. Kevin, oh, I like that. Treat the community as if it's a huge community. Yeah, that is such a good approach. John says it becomes an opportunity wasted. Yeah, so if you don't go live and you're just kind of hoarding that part of yourself, it's opportunity wasted. Kevin says, agreed, John. It's a great opportunity to let's make the most of it. And then John says, shift your perspective accordingly, and you stand to reap in incredible possibilities of opportunity. True.
Yeah, I think the community one, I definitely have gotten stuck in that trap, especially with social media, where you can have goals of like, I want to grow my audience in order to share this with more people and to be successful and run a successful business. When you're an entrepreneur, you want to make a living. And so when you see that maybe you're not growing as quickly as you would like, you get frustrated, and it can almost make you want to just say like, well, what's the point? But you have, let's say in my case, I have around 770 followers. So for a while I've been thinking, why can't I seem to grow? But it's like there are 700 people there who have chosen to follow me. And by me just getting hung up that it's not bigger, how that's so rude to the people who have chosen to come along and who are joining me for this journey and maybe listening to what I have to say, for me to just be disgruntled because I don't have more people. Like that's, so you have to kind of shift it. All those people who've already come along, I mean, really, I should be giving them almost more value because they've been with me.
That reminds me of something. We'll talk. We don't have time right now, but we'll talk about it later because that's so interesting.
It's like right now, we have these amazing people who have come and joined us and are watching with us and commenting. And maybe by live stream standards, it's not a huge audience or a huge community, but we want to shower them with love because they are showing up for us.
Speaking of which, real quick, I know this is going to look bad on screen because I have multiple layers. Dr. Elo, what's up? You made it. Couple things. Speaking of supporting fellow live streamers, after this, I highly recommend going and watch Dr. Elo's stream because we realized last minute we post scheduled ours at the same exact time. So go support his because that's what I'm doing. That's what all the cool kids are doing. Kat, me, everybody. Be part of the cool group. Anyways. Question. Awkward moment So one of the awkward
So
moments you've experienced.
I would say, aside from today's camera stuff, which I think, based now on a bit more experience, I have gotten used to.
Oh,
I
sorry,
had
Kat. I just mean in life in general. Awkward moments. Your most awkward moments. This is a part people really get to know us. No, I'm kidding.
there is not enough time for that
No.
because I have many. Oh, believe me. Yes. Uh, but as far as live stream, outside of I know a few of you who were in our live every day in August challenge might have seen I had a little bit of a flub there, but from a public standpoint, I have had a very similar thing happen, which was that I went to go change the scene and I just disappeared. So in that case, I had switched cameras, and when I went live, I thought everything was set up and it wasn't. So it just went black, and I suddenly was talking to an audience, and this was early on. I think it was maybe only my second or third regular stream, and I kind of panicked a little, but I was able to get back on track. But it was just I usually was taking some of those lessons and putting them on my website in the early days when they were short and nobody was showing up. And that one I did not share because I just thought I don't really want to have that out there. Nowadays, I don't think it would bother me as much, but at the time, I really felt very green and very awkward.
And you left people like Ron saying, and there she was, gone.
Yeah.
Just
I came
disappeared.
back.
Oh, that's good.
I like the little shout out to a little bit of Ron Burgundy there, JV.
Bleep you, San Diego. Clip from that live stream. So what do you wish you knew? And this is one reason we're really excited about doing this show, is that we want to give people like really helpful tools and tactics to become better live streamers, because this is the path we're walking too. So what is something that you wish you knew that you know now?
Yes. So I would say it does not take long to have a strategy, but you should have a strategy, meaning sit down and brainstorm, 4 to 6 different topics. And obviously, I brainstorm more. But when I sit down and I just start to think, what are all the things that I have maybe learned or want to share or want people to understand? If I write those all down, usually I get enough ideas that I have at least one, if not a couple months worth of topics that I can talk about. And just knowing that gives me the confidence to say, okay, I have something I'm going to talk about next week, and I have something next week. And you just know, so that it just takes a load off to be able to have a little bit of a batch of some ideas. And that has made a big difference for me. So I think I've learned other things, but that's a really important one, because I do think, as much as we say mindset and just show up and do all of that stuff, you also want to put a little thought into it and just have an idea of what's the thing that you're showing up for. Now, it might be different depending on your stream, but because I am trying to teach lessons, I just want to make sure I have some ideas of what are the topics that I'm actually talking about.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like batch cooking with ideas, Kevin.
What's one video that helped you prepare?
It's funny. I knew this question was coming, and there are so many that have helped me. And this is going to be a little bit of a cop-out, but the live streaming pros, folks, I don't know that I could pick one. I will try, because I know that Paul and I both talked about being interested in sharing, like, what are some of the really valuable videos that are out there that have helped us. But genuinely just showing up and watching as much as I can of the live streaming pros, folks, I find that it just helps me to see them, watching them with their live streams, but also teaching about live streaming. It's that double whammy, and it's just good quality stuff.
And I should mention, down below, we're going to add links. So if you want to watch some of the videos we mention or the classes we might mention, all that stuff will be in the links. And we'll do that every week too. So if you're watching on the replay, you'll have links available. So, yeah. As cop-outs go, it's a good cop-out.
Yeah.
I might, this is going to be a tease for the audience, have a similar one. So what's advice you would give for a new streamer? Somebody who might be on the fence, might be thinking about it, but hasn't quite gone yet, live yet.
So this is connected to what we talked about earlier, but I think people will get so nervous about making a mistake or having a technical flub that it will keep them from going. However, if I can take a lesson from another part of my life that was really helpful and is very similar, I had a road bike and it had clips. So I had the shoes where you clip into your pedals. And I was so nervous that I wasn't biking. And so my colleague, who had been cycling for years and he would clip in, he said, as long as you recognize it's a matter of when you fall while you're still clipped in, not if you'll fall, it changes everything. And I realized, oh, you're right. I didn't want to fall. So I was so focused on not falling that I didn't ride. But once I realized, oh, I'm going to fall, that's a rite of passage. Every cyclist falls while they're still clipped in their shoes. It just became it's the inevitable. It's going to happen. And so that made a huge difference for me to get on the bike. And then when I did fall, I was like, oh, I fell. And I had felt like I now was a real cyclist. So similarly, when it comes to live streaming, it's not if there's going to be a problem, there's going to be a problem. And so as long as you just accept that that is part of the journey and it's a rite of passage and it's going to happen. And then what I have experienced is when you make a tech mistake or a flub like today, people tell you it kind of makes you more human and more relatable because you are struggling with tech too. You don't have it all figured out. The pros don't have it figured out. And so it is actually a connection point, and I think it endears people to you. So that's what I would say to a new streamer.
That's really great. I think we have a couple more. What's a unique skill that really helped you?
So I don't know that it's unique, but I will give myself credit that I worked in a couple of jobs where I was presenting a lot. And so the actually having experience with speaking did help me. It'd be weird not to admit that I really do find having a background in facilitation and teaching and presenting made it easier for me to get up there and give this a try.
Thanks. So you've been doing live, let's say, May to September. I'm going to do some quick math and say that's 5 months, 6 months? Don't check. I think it's 5 months. What's your greatest lesson so far that you've walked away with doing live?
I think it's just keep showing up and commit to it and just do it. And that's the only way that you're going to get good at it is if you keep showing up. You can't get good at it if you don't do it.
You know what's funny is that can I just, when you interview me, I can just say, oh, ditto to what you said. Because I feel like a lot of this stuff, I'm like, yeah, this is 100% right. All these things. So how was your last stream? Which we kind of already talked about.
We did. Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add about that or you're good?
You know what I will share because this is all about transparency. So this was the first time, so earlier today, was the first time I actually used a teleprompter in a live. And I did it for the very start because I just wanted to make sure I could say the start the way I wanted it. And then at the end, because I was sharing about my actual program and I wanted to make sure that I said it right. But what I also did is I wrote out a section that I could then clip and put in Instagram stories or like the IGTV, I should say, because I want to be able to use my videos for multi-purpose. So that was actually a very interesting experience. Usually I'm just talking at the camera. Like right now, I'm just talking into it. I do not have anything planned, but having it planned was a little bit strange because I haven't done that at all for a number of months. But I will say that it's nice to have those few sentences already kind of predetermined if I really want to make sure that I get it right and I want to repurpose it for something else. So I don't know how I feel about it doing it all the time, but it was an interesting experience for me today. And I wasn't sure if people would see my eyes kind of darting at all from the teleprompter. I don't know. You'll have to tell me if you noticed the teleprompter or not. But
I didn't notice until you told me later and you said I used the teleprompter. I was like, oh, had no idea. So I did not notice any eye darting. I noticed
yeah,
eye frustration with the
yeah,
camera.
with my camera.
Yeah, I noticed
Yeah,
a little
I
frustration
didn't hide that,
there.
and it was only a little bit. The majority of that stream was just free flowing, not scripted at all.
Well, you punched a hole in the wall, but after that, you really calmed down. Yeah, you just smeared green face paint all over yourself and then punched a hole in the wall. And you said cat smash and then finally settled down. It's great.
Yeah, a little bit of She-Hulk action going on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Which is a great character, by the way. Not explored enough. She's a great character. Anyways.
Aren't they doing one? I think they're doing one.
They are. I'm super excited that they're doing something with She-Hulk. And Miss Marvel. Very excited about both of those.
And they're doing a female Thor too, right?
Yes. I don't think Natalie Portman's good casting, but whatever.
I like Natalie Portman. Anyway.
I like Natalie Portman too. I feel like she's just too serious for the playful Marvel vibe. Like, but then again, Jane Foster going through some very serious stuff in the comics. So
I am not up to date on the comics.
Well, in the comic, she had cancer, but every time she became Thor, it was interesting. So I'll 2 seconds and then we'll get back to it. So in the comic book, she has cancer, and every time she would become the mighty Thor, it would basically take away all the chemotherapy benefits. So she had to start. It was her choice to be a hero, but by being a hero, it would kill her. Pretty interesting, dramatic.
Oh,
so
how's that for the hero's journey?
Right?
Yeah.
Interesting little thing. So, anyways, so here's the weird thing. Natalie Portman, I'm like, oh, Natalie Portman can pull off somebody suffering and dealing with cancer. But can she pull off being playful in the Marvel kind of universe? I don't know.
Yeah, because Thor has developed, he wasn't always that funny and jokey throughout and then he got sad. Mm-hmm. I digress.
No, he did. He did start off more serious and sexy and has become sillier. Now, will Natalie go on the same journey, starting off beautiful and slowly become funnier? I don't know. Time will tell.
I think she's got a little funny in her. Do we want to pivot?
Sure. Let's.
All right. And you're controlling the questions. So.
Oh, this is a great question you brought up. So.
How did you get into live streaming, Paul?
So, I got into live streaming when. So I used to run an improv theater, and we had to close in March, and then I had to permanently close the theater in April. And in March, it looked like we were going to be closed for a while, so I wanted to figure out a way that people could still hang out together. And we did Zoom calls together, but that's not really going live. That's more just kind of a community building opportunity. But I wanted something else that would kind of reach more audience members, not necessarily people who want to show up and do improv. So I tried a show, and it was a show that was all built around, and actually I'd like to bring it back maybe in some way. This was in March. I would bring on a guest and ask them, and this was also self-serving because, sure, why not? We'll just open up a lot. So I deal with a lot of depression, and I was like, sometimes I get very, very depressed, and I was wondering, what are those things that people use? What are their their top 5 things that they use? Like, in case of emergency, break glass. These are the things that help them pull out of down moments. And I figured in March, this might be applicable for a lot of people. So, So what I would do is I'd bring on a guest, and I just did it once, and then got in my head too much, full of self-doubt. but we did it once, and it was an opportunity for me to kind of say, like, hey, here are 5 things that have really helped me pull out of those moments, and what are 5 things that help you overcome, these moments. And it was fun. But
That sounds valuable too for other people.
yeah, hopefully it was only one episode, so hopefully they got some value out of it. So um but it was fun, but I got inside my head and just thought too much about it and was like, oh, this isn't good. It's not getting a lot of viewers. I should probably let this go. And graphically, it wasn't very impressive either. Like the layers didn't work that well. I was just in my head too much afterwards. So that was my first foray into live streaming.
I think that that is valuable and that you should consider bringing that back if you want to, because even if it's only a few people, that can help a few people. That would make a big difference.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, that when you were talking about treat the community like a big community, if you can help one person, I was like, that, oh man, that's very applicable. You're very well,
Gotcha.
Scott. You got me.
So the second one, was there anything holding you back from live streaming?
Uh, I, truthfully, sure. Yeah, that's the whole point of this thing is truthfully. Truthfully, how I look. And please, this is not me hoping for comments in there are things in the comments, but this is just me being really candid. I don't like how I look at all. So the biggest hurdle for me was like, oh God, this. So that was for me a big hurdle. And but the thing that helped me get over it was the fact that the theater had closed and I didn't have any opportunity or space to connect with people. So I was like, well, this is the only way I can really do it. So that's the thing that kind of, um, I don't know. Do you find, for me personally, it takes like the huge shift in your life to suddenly be like, well, maybe I should look at this idea that for a long time was a fact differently. And for me, the fact was I don't look good enough for live. But then the theater closed, and that was like my whole life for 8 years. And that's a pretty big thing. So I was like, well, maybe I should reassess these facts that aren't facts. They're just beliefs. But you believe something long enough, it looks like a fact.
So I'm glad that you realized that it was a belief and not a fact, because it's
Yeah.
not a fact. And it's interesting how sometimes we apply these beliefs in one setting but in another. So you didn't say to yourself, I can't help run an improv center because of how I look, even though there are other people who would interact with you as the owner.
Yes.
But you never thought about that, or maybe you did, but you didn't let it stop you. But then when it comes to online, which is a different ballgame, but then all of a sudden this belief becomes stronger and has more control over you. So I'm glad that you realized it was a belief and you kind of showed up anyway, because I believe that people really resonate with you and they like to watch you and they like to join you and you have a natural rapport. And most people aren't criticizing how you look or any of that. They're there for the connection.
Yes, that's such a huge thing, and it's funny that it didn't translate. That when I ran the theater, people just wanted connection, and I think the idea of going live on the internet, it's like, oh, that's the internet. That's everywhere. That's not
Yeah.
one corner of one street in one city. That's everybody. And the idea of being vulnerable in front of everybody was scary because running a theater, you would get people who'd show up, but then they would leave, but they wouldn't like leave a comment. They would just not show up again. And you're like, well, that's not my tribe. But to go online, but it's funny because people who don't like it will just bounce off, and people who like it will stick around and stay with your tribe. So, yeah, it's funny how I didn't really pull those two things together, but glad I did.
Mm-hmm. I just, as a little quick thing, the hair was a big mental hurdle for me of, do I cover up the gray or do I just let this fly? And so far I'm just going with two-tone hair.
It looks great.
Rocking the grombre. All right, the next question. Biggest
Gross.
mindset adjustment or shift you had to make, or your, what is it? Mindset? Hashtag mindset.
The mind shit. The biggest mindset adjustment I had to make. That's a really good question. I just had to be okay with whatever happened. And I love, because I love a good plan. And when a plan doesn't go, well, things don't go according to plan, sometimes I start thinking, oh, that means it's not going well, which isn't true. It's just not going according to plan. But the plan was arbitrary. It was just something I made up in my brain. Nobody handed it to me and said, this is exactly what has to happen, or none of this is worth anything.
Yeah.
So I've realized, and this is nice, live streaming has helped me slowly break down the things in my mind that I thought were facts and boundaries. I realized, okay, spoiler alert, if you've never seen The Village by M. Night Shyamalan, skip over the next 20 seconds. I feel like my brain is a lot like that M. Night Shyamalan movie where it's like, oh, wait a second. This is an arbitrary boundary and I've been living inside this village, but there's so many more things out there. So one good thing came from that movie.
I haven't seen it, and I feel like based on that review, I don't need to rush out. That's okay.
Okay.
I'm not into really scary movies.
Oh, it's kind of scary, but also kind of stupid. It's you could tell he wanted to make it scarier than he was able to. It might have been because, anyways. So what happens in the village real fast is that this woman kind of goes on a journey to find other people outside of her village, but then she hops a fence, and it's an entirely separate village in a modern day city. So she's living like in a 17th century, 16th century village within like a New York. It's very weird.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Sorry I ruined it.
That's okay. I see Tina says, I liked The Village. I just love how M. Night's mind works.
You know what's funny, Tina? Is I like the movie too, but I've been surrounded by comedians who hate it and make a lot of jokes about it. So I've like slowly absorbed that. But I like the movie. John says, think about The Shining with the poignancy of What About Bob?
That might be one of the best one-liner reviews of a movie that I've seen in a very long time.
Oh, that's funny.
Also, I've never seen poignancy and What About Bob together in a sentence. So kudos to that.
Oh, it's very nice. Everybody who's saying nice things about me, that's very kind of you. You are all wonderful. Yeah, that's the other thing. Okay, so real quick, the thing that's also helped me, the biggest mindset adjustment that's helped is people watching and commenting and talking to people, because Lita has been a huge mind chat adjustment. I don't know why my brain wants to say that. It's been a huge adjustment because you're suddenly flooded with hundreds of people who want you to succeed, which is a very unique thing in the world. So that was a huge mindset adjustment. Oh no, we're over an hour. Oh boy.
Tell us about your first live stream, Paul.
The first live stream, so I'm going to start being more condensed with these answers. The first live stream was, I was using XSplit. I was on a laptop, not exactly known for its powerhouse of abilities. So not a strong laptop, using XSplit Broadcaster, which is still a very great option. I recommend that. And
never heard of it.
Oh, it's the learning curve is more than Ecamm, way less than vMix.
Okay.
It's like OBS on steroids, but not so many steroids that it becomes vMix. If that helps. And I was in the living room, And yeah, I was just kind of like winging it with friends. And oh, one thing, did not look at the camera very much. Never looked at the lens. I kept looking over the monitor, and I planned it so the camera was like picking up my good side. So I was like, should I put the camera over here or over here? And I'm not gonna lie, I did pose for a little while to figure out, nope, me looking this way, much better. So that's a thing.
I like the honesty. I like the honesty.
Yeah.
All right. What about an ugly or awkward moment? Oh, sorry, just awkward moment. We took out ugly.
Well, an ugly, awkward. So an awkward moment. During Lita, there was a time when I didn't have any audio, and everybody told me, "Oh, okay, there's a couple." This past Saturday, I'll go very recent. This past Saturday, I was broadcasting to Facebook for 8 minutes until somebody told me, "Hey, you're only broadcasting to Facebook. Everybody on YouTube is hearing nothing and seeing nothing." And that was a very important moment. Like, hey, check in with comments more often. Check in with comments more often. Pay attention to messages. People want you to succeed. Sometimes you think things are happening and they're not. Oh, also another good reason to go through your checklist. Like, check your audio. Check that you hit the live button. Anyways. Yeah, that was very awkward because... And then also during Lita, I went live, no audio, was so embarrassed, hit cancel. So I just kind of deleted that one and kind of had to go calm down because I was so like disappointed in myself. But then I was like, it's no big deal. Just go live again. So I did, and it was fine. So
yeah, I'm glad you showed up. And the moral of the story is, who cares? Just keep showing up. It's not going to be a deal breaker. All right. What do you wish you knew that you know now?
That everything is going to be fine. That if you just focus on exploring whatever it is you're there to explore or talk about or teach, it goes so much easier. If it's making you happy to talk about that thing and explore that thing, it's going to translate and carry through the lens to that other person on the other side. Like I think a lot of people, and I might just be making this up because it helps me live, I think people just want to be around joy. I mean, I think a lot of people are angry, but that doesn't mean they don't want to be around joy. So if you're doing something on camera that brings you joy and makes you happy, somebody else out there, they might just gravitate towards your joy, but they also might gravitate towards the things you're talking about. But having run a theater, there are people you never want to step on stage with because they're just angry and miserable and they want to shred everything. And there's no fun in being around that. So
I think that is an excellent message around the energy you put out. And if you're really digging what you're talking about, it's going to translate and people are going to notice. So I really like that.
Thanks.
And I do love that you ended on the note of the people who just like, they're like, suck your energy away.
Oh my gosh, go away. Those people just need to go away.
What's our next one, Paul?
I don't mean you need to go away. We're talking about the people who suck energy, right? Great. I just want to make sure.
The energy vampires, they gotta go. Okay, we did that one. One video. Yeah, this is, I think you admitted that you also were gonna cop out.
Ditto. So it's a series of videos. The things that really help me a lot is it's gonna sound like such a commercial. Take the Live Streaming Pros workshop. I think it's like $80 or $100. If you have any interest in doing live streaming, so helpful. There were so many moments I watched that and I was like, I just saved myself 30 minutes, an hour of struggling to try to set this up. Because all the answers are there and all the tactics are there. Yeah, those helped. So many videos, helpful stuff.
Yeah, Kevin, not sponsored.
Not sponsored at all.
We're just fan club.
Hmm.
All right, advice for new streamers. Wait,
Oh,
wait, did you
nope,
just jump past that
I
one?
did. That's a me issue, not a you issue. Me issue. Advice for new streamers. I think it would tie back to when I said earlier, figure out a thing that brings you a lot of joy and happiness to talk about. Because then if nobody shows up, that's fine. You're loving this thing. People will find your content. It's going to float out there in the world. Somebody will find it. Somebody will be interested in it. And you'll find your tribe, but you better sure as hell love running that tribe and the thing you're doing. Otherwise, you'll be miserable. And you might have a huge tribe, but you'll be miserable.
So uplifting. No, it is a
Oh,
very good point. It is a good point for new streamers because some people might think, oh, this is the thing I should do. And then they just start doing it. And then they realize too late, it's like, I actually don't want to pour my energy into this.
um, so totally candidly, really quickly, the reason I mentioned you'll be miserable is I ran an improv theater, started to take on too much space. And when I did that, I realized, uh-oh, I need to fill this stage with more stuff. And I started bringing in shows that I wasn't really proud of. And I was bringing in comedians that didn't really, that weren't the energy and the the community focus that I was hoping for. And this is in no way a criticism of them. It just wasn't the right fit for the theater. So then I felt this weird sense of like, okay, I'm trying to chase the money and trying to chase bigger audiences, but what I'm doing, I'm not really proud of. So it's a weird place to be being handed money and success, but at the same time mean like, I'm not, this isn't what I want. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think it's actually a really important lesson for everyone. Doing those regular check ins just because it was on the right path, or like it's that sunk cost fallacy of I've already put all this work in, I have to keep doing it. It's no, you don't. If you realize it's no longer right, you can change and you can pivot and you can do something else. So, yeah.
This live stream in many ways reminds me of when we do a Zoom call and we're like, let's keep this Zoom call to 30 minutes. And 90 minutes later, we're like, well, missed that target.
True story. Okay. Unique skill that really helped you.
Um, Going with the flow. And more than that, exploring an idea fully. So I think sometimes you might throw out an idea or a thought and then abandon it for something else rather than kind of like drilling down. In what I do and like what I teach, there's the idea like you want to go a mile, you want to go a mile deep, not a mile wide. So any idea that you bring up, explore it, fully explore it with the audience. What are their comments? What are they going to be talking? Or what do they care about? Like, look at that idea 360 degrees, and you will easily have enough content to fill a lot of time. Like, there's a number of people who've messaged me and said, I don't understand how you talk for 3 hours. What the hell are you doing? Granted, I'm not saying it's super important and valuable, but it is much easier to fill time when you value all your ideas and with other people say, let's kind of dive in and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So
You triggered a memory for Kevin, who is still thinking about a pillowcase full of M&Ms that I mentioned many weeks ago now.
the man loves his M&Ms.
Which I don't know actually if Kevin loves M&Ms or not, but that story about a child having a pillowcase full of M&Ms that was constantly refilled, so she just always had access to them until she kind of eventually realized M&Ms aren't that special. That has stuck. That has lasted.
Oh, and if you want me to pull up any comments, let me know, because if there's anything you want me to grab here, because there's a lot of good comments. And everybody watching, like, if we're not pulling up your comments, I am 100% going through and looking at all this stuff later. It's just simply, we don't want to, like, take up too much of your time in our live show. So,
That's what we say. It's not always what we do.
oh, that we're going to go through and read these?
No, that we're not going to take up much of their time.
Oh, yeah, that part's half a lie.
Yeah. All right, greatest lesson. What's your greatest lesson?
Greatest lesson is, I'd say, just care a lot about what you're presenting. And and I'd say also be open to change. And I'm going to talk about this tomorrow more. One moment that I had, which was really, really fun doing a live stream, was I was playing a video game and I was like, how can I make this more enjoyable for the audience? And I realized, oh, I have a voice changer app. Why don't I just use the voice changer app, and each character we run into will have a different voice. And even though this video game is saying this is the dialogue this character has, I can add more dialogue as that character to kind of create unusual, quirky backstories. So I guess don't limit yourself to what's there. So if the game is saying, oh, this is what the deer character says, great, say that. But you can add a bunch more and have fun with it. So I guess just kind of watch out where the boundaries are. And if the boundaries are arbitrary.
Yes, they are.
So, okay.
That reminds me. No, I'll save that for another one. I was going to talk about Mohini.
No, go for
okay,
it.
there's one more.
A lot. Go for it.
Okay, I think I can share it quickly. There is a story from a book called Radical Acceptance. Mm-hmm. And there's a story of a tiger named Mohini, who I believe was in the DC Zoo, and had a really small cage, and they knew that wasn't right. So they spent all this money and time preparing this big open space. And then they were so excited to give Mohini this big open space with a natural habitat. And when they let her go, she just went to a corner and just started going in her 12 by 12 square that she was used to, that she had lived her whole life in a 12 by 12 space. So she just basically, until all the grass was gone in a 12 by 12 space. It was so sad, but it's this whole idea that sometimes we just believe that this is our 12 by 12. We got to stay in there, but there's actually this whole big area that we can explore.
Isn't that how they train elephants? Well, not that exact, but I mean, you've always heard how they train elephants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they have that little stick with it's around their leg. So when they're young, they can't move. And when they get older, they don't realize that that little rope does nothing and they could easily just walk away from it.
I don't know if that's an actual real thing or if it's
I think it's real.
Is it real? Okay, that's crazy. But
Kevin wants to know, is it a meaty book? No, it's not meaty. It's a nice small book. It would not hold up a monitor.
I don't think it's a meaty book. What's funny is that I think I have that book, but I don't think I've ever read it.
Oh, it's a good one. Okay. Oh, full disclosure though, I've only read the first half. But the first half is really good.
Look at us being so honest. We don't have to be honest. Everybody could assume like she read this whole book. This is very impressive.
Yeah. What I take from that is elephants are dumb, but with great memories. Oh, they're not dumb. They just have artificial boundaries, just like humans. All right. Did we? Oh no, you have one more question.
I think one more.
How was your last stream?
Good. It was really fun. I didn't pay attention to the view count, and then I got my highest view count so far, so I didn't get consumed with the number, and it paid off down the road. And yeah, just had a good time hanging out with people, being creative, just kind of follow your intuition too in a stream. That's what I've been doing more recently. And it's been fun because something there is telling you, try this or do this. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Oh, if I can share one quick thing. I went live last night for like 10 minutes because I wanted to try something with Stream Elements. I wanted to try to finally get Stream Elements to work. And I realized I can go live, I can get the information I need, and then just delete it, which is extremely liberating. Because sometimes I think, I don't know, I freak out. I'm like, I can't go live. It's going to be there forever. I don't want the world to see it forever. Just delete it. You don't have to keep it. That's a
That is liberating.
It freed my mind a lot when I started doing that. So, and then YouTube's like, "You sure you want to delete it?" I'm like, "Yes. Get the hell out of here. This is a terrible 10-minute clip."
Now, I will say for people who are nervous, don't delete everything. Like we don't want to just be like every time I go live, I didn't like that, I'm going to delete it. It is okay. This is for people who are maybe nervous.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. The first episodes, go to any channel, and when you go to videos, you can just go in reverse order and see some of the first videos that they ever put out there. And most people start pretty rough, and that's okay. It shows us how much we have grown. But I do think your point is also true. If you do something short and it doesn't work, you can delete it.
And if you're worried before deleting it, you can make it unlisted. You can make
yes,
it
everyone.
private.
Yeah, a few people have said that now. Don't just unlist.
There you go. Yeah. So if there's something of value that you maybe want to keep, or run it by somebody. Honestly, our brains aren't the best at judging ourselves. So if you want to unlist it or keep it private and send it to a couple trusted people, do that. And that might be a great way to fight your inner brain that's saying delete it. Also, hot tip, if you're testing stream elements and you're testing it to an unlisted stream, your stream will not show up as live on Stream Elements. Now, that might drive you insane. And for 90 minutes, you might be searching the internet thinking, what's happening? I thought I understood the world. Now, I'm not saying that happened to me, though it might have. And eventually, out of frustration, you go take a nap. And then you come back. And then you realize, I'm just going to try one more time and just go live. Maybe the unlisted thing was the problem. Turns out it is. This is all hypothetical. Anyways, it'll save you a lot of time to not trust an unlisted or private video. Anyways,
it is good to learn from these things so that we know these things.
I'm happy to share it because I don't want you to waste your time.
Yes. The more you know.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, 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 ding. We came to the final part. I think we're at the final part, correct?
Yes.
Nice. At a very quick, very breezy 80 minutes. What is there anything? So what we want to do in the last part is talk about things that we have seen in live videos, or also podcasts or TV that we want to use and implement into our own production, or see if we can use it in our own production. So,
yep.
Yeah, I'll jump in first.
Yeah, please.
So one thing, I was listening to a podcast, and it's called Life is Short. Probably shouldn't have outed the podcast because I found it more frustrating than anything. Life is Short, really good podcast with interviews with really interesting people, but I found it so frustrating that the host, which is Justin Long, very talented actor, but he kept interrupting the person he was interviewing with and oh, that's interesting. And it's like these weird little quirks. I'm just like, mute your mic or something, because it kept pulling you out of the story. And that is one thing I want to use. I want to learn to just stop talking. Well, two things. One, be very intentional and clear when the sentence is over. And two, the other thing is not interrupt somebody's story. Wait until they're fully done and then jump in.
I agree. That's making me think of a clip I saw on the news of a speech. And during the speech, some people who were, I guess, close enough to the mic that the mic was picking them up, whereas every few moments, and they just like threw up the whole speech, and it was so distracting. I was like, come on, just nod your head or something. But they were in it and they were loving it and they were making it known and the mic was picking it all up.
So here's the interesting thing too. And so Kevin says, that's interesting. And then John follows out with a, oh, I see what you did, John. This very well could be the situation that they are both at home and they cannot, in the current situation, meet in a studio and they're doing it over Zoom. So that might be affecting the flow. But if that's the case, Justin, just stop, because I would imagine you listened to one of your episodes or your audio producer listened and might have mentioned it. Anyways, I guess the point is be open to change, or yeah. So that's one thing I want to work on.
Yes, I'm resisting the urge to make all the sounds.
Everybody is the worst in chat right now. You guys are the worst and best. Anything that you're working on?
So what I've been taken to heart the suggestion from Luria around countdown timers and this idea that it's a countdown timer, but you kind of want to see that there's a person there, they're getting ready, whether they are dancing or whether they're just kind of getting ready and they're in the background, that the point is not just to have a solid wall and nothing there. And so now I have in my streams, I've usually just done a few minutes just to be able to catch a person who's trying to find it. And I think it's okay not to necessarily do that, but I want to test it out. So I think I would like to try for my next live stream, which is Friday, to have me visible in behind the live stream instead of just a photo or something in the background. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily that I'll be talking or interacting, but that you'll see that I'm there, I'm getting ready, I'm prepared, so that it's like it's about to start. And another thing that I did try it, countdown timer related. Yesterday I had a workshop. Now it was a Zoom workshop so that people were showing up, but I did actually have a little countdown timer so people just knew exactly when I was going to launch into the workshop. And there was no question there, but I just had a smaller one. So it was kind of in the corner of the screen counting down. And then I had a little instruction for introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, so that if they were just to show up, anyone showing up can see it and I don't have to keep repeating it again. And so I think there are things that we can do as people are starting to join us before the show starts. So that's what I'm kind of focusing on for my next stream.
Nice. I caught myself saying, during your talks, so that's why I was laughing. The other thing too is I started working on it yesterday is stream elements. So I was watching somebody in Twitch, and I loved that there was a lot of people in chat saying, "Oh, let's duel," or "Oh, 8-ball," and all these things. I'm like, what is happening? But then I realized, oh, stream elements is such a great tool that allows chat to you can take your chat to next level. So I'm excited to try to explore that stuff, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to work on that a little bit, see what I can do. And yeah, if you pop on one of my lives, I'll probably be using stream elements, and also a really great way to send links to people. So if you want, one thing I've found out in stream elements, if you haven't used it yet, it's pretty easy to set up. If you want help, let me know. I know how to avoid mistakes now. You can set up triggers. So like every 5 minutes during your live stream, the little bot can post, hey, you can sign up for membership, or you can sign up to be a part of this workshop. So you can have that stuff like just automatically posting. It's a really cool, helpful little tool.
I think someone wants your help.
Oh, Dr. Elo, I will reach out to you. I'll help you out. Awesome. It is a little confusing for sure. So
that is exciting though, once you get that going. I've decided to wait a little until I venture in there, but I do want to venture into that stream elements area.
Cool. It's fun and free, which is great.
Yeah. All right. So we have our things we're going to work on. So we will be checking back next week to tell you how that went. Have we made any progress? Have we learned anything new? Mm-hmm. So look forward to that.
And thank you so much, Kat, thanks for doing this. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, Paul, thanks for doing this. Also,
Yeah.
collaboration.
Oh, next week. Sorry, interrupted your collaboration song. Was there more? Was there second lyrics?
Oh, that was
Second...
it. Kind
No.
of instantly regretted it.
Collaboration. No, don't regret it. No, you've inspired me. Who is our guest next week? Because it's not just us next week. Oh
No,
boy.
we have our first guest.
Ooh. Who is it? Who is it?
He's here with us now.
You might know him as a robotics master. Next week, Kevin is going to be our guest. Super excited. It's going to be awesome. So he's going to talk to us. And what's so funny?
His comment.
I have heard, Kevin, this must be a different Kevin. I have heard good things about this guy. So really excited to get him. It was a big get in the live streaming business. We like to call him a big fish, a whale. It's a big get. Anyways, I'm excited. This is going to be great.
I am too.
Yeah. Cool. Well, then, until next week. Oh, Kat, where can people find you if they want to find your live stream?
So, I do Wednesdays on Facebook at My Happy Insides and Fridays at noon Eastern on Ditching Diets and Die, where I kind of talk about this as well as giving up dieting. And how about you? Where are you streaming to? Where can people find you?
So every Saturday night, I'm streaming 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time over on YouTube, and it's just an opportunity for 2-3 hours of Jackbox games, other games that are group oriented that people can sign on and play. Even if you don't want to play the Jackbox game, you can participate as an audience member, like a quiet audience member. In fact, my sister last week, she didn't want to participate, so she was just kind of lurking there, but in the audience voting. So that kind of cracked me up. So you don't have to participate. You can just hang out, have a good time. It's a lot of us. It's a great time. And also I usually broadcast on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 to 8 or 5 to 9, and just video games, hanging out, talking, chats. So yeah.
All right. I see. Dr. Illo, when is Paul getting invited? Ditching Diets and Die right now is a weekly check-in where I talk about my ups and downs. I have not explored guests yet, but who knows?
There you go.
Who knows? This is all natural hair that you're seeing on him.
It is. It's going to be much more blue tomorrow. I'm dyeing it tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, getting a haircut and dyeing it tonight. It's very exciting.
That's exciting.
John says, Ditching Diets and Die is a fantastic show. I love it, Kat. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, this is good. This is some insight from John that Kevin, he's good, but he can be a bit blue. So, good to know. Good to know. Kevin, he's
all right.
edgy. Okay, all right.
So we'll same time, same place, not as long. That is not our intention to take up 90 minutes of your time, plus a few extra for those of you who joined for the pre-show.
That's true. All right. See you later. Have a good week.
Bye, guys.